Hi, morning. Welcome to another Rise and Row Along. This is actually, I'm weird because I'm obviously recording this live right now, but I've just done that as though that's an intro to it for the thing that I'm now making. And yes, it's all a little bit meta and all over the place. But anyway, so it's a 45-minute row. I think, if I remember right, we're on, is it one of the Boston courses? Crikey, you think I'd remember, wouldn't you? Hey, Mike's here. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So, and that's what it says, 45 minutes. I'm going to do this mostly at, we've got right about, just so you know, 2 minutes 45 to go, but hopefully you can see that on the screen. I'm going to do this mostly low intensity. When the sprint sections come up, eventually I will start sprinting, I think, but I'm going to spend the first 10 minutes or so just talking technique. No, I'll try and make it a little bit more interesting than kind of just going, oh, now we're going to tilt over our hips, but it is me. So, and then, yeah, so that's why I'm not rowing yet. You start doing some light rowing if you want to have a warm-up to make sure that you're ready, but I'm going to basically use right from the very beginning of this row as my warm-up. I'm also going to use a cup of coffee as a warm-up, so excuse me a second. Where would I be without coffee, eh? Right, so I'm just taking a look to see, so there's, yeah, a whole bunch of people have arrived. Like, look at this. I mean, it's lovely. Like, social Sunday mornings. I mean, we've only been, or I've only really been running these since, what, December? And it's, and like, just consistent, the amount of people that are turning up to this. And it's amazing. It really does make me happy that so many people are here. Just checking that the monitor hadn't turned itself off while I've been sitting here. I've got the monitor, the actual PM5 is put down so that you can see me over the top of the monitor, otherwise it's in the way, because of course I've got the machine set up in a rather odd angle today. I know some people who joined the live stream very early. This is Matthew Sylvester, good morning. Yeah, some people who joined the live stream right from the very beginning have heard me say all this stuff, but of course more people have joined. Yeah, we've got 35 people watching right now. Oh, crikey, ooh, 35. For me, that's quite a lot. Oh, crikey, I better take my hoodie off. I've got 1 minute to take my hoodie off. I'll try not to flash as I do it. Oh. Can I do this without flashing with my feet strapped in? Right, 1 second, sorry about this. Hello. Oh, I think you saw some skin there, sorry about that. Okay, oops. 45 seconds to go. Hopefully then, I've not forgotten anything. I am going to put, right, so it is still only me on Discord right now. I am going to put my earbuds in. Just in case anyone turns up. But again, I'll give it like 5 minutes. And if nobody turns up, I'm going to take my earbuds out because it's really weird talking with these in. Ooh. Right. These actually, I've had these Jabra 65T Elites. I think I've had these for like 6 years. It's the longest I think I've ever had a pair of headphones. Okay, so 15 seconds to go, or just under. 10 seconds to go. So remember, I'm just going to do this at a nice, gentle intensity. It's a Sunday morning. It's not a race for me, but you can go as fast as you like. In 3, 2, 1, and we're off. Enjoy. Okay. So, and again, the other thing that, if you are new onto this live stream, you didn't watch from the beginning, is that hopefully you'll have noticed that there's less of a delay, because there was like a 15-second delay between that app and YouTube previously, but got some advice, turned the latency right down, and there's now like a 4-second delay. But I don't know whether that's impacted anything else. There you go, so this, I mean, is this better? Apart from getting to see me full on, like all of my face instead of just the right hand side of my face. Is it better seeing me straight on? I mean, it's definitely a better output in terms of the overlay of me to the side of the app, but anyway. Right, so that's enough flanneling. A minute's worth of gumph just to get your body moving. Now we can just think a little bit about how we're moving, not just moving. And really, the best place to start, well actually, I like to think that the best place to start is your hip rock, where you rock forwards over your hips, swing back over your hips, and trying to get at like an earliest stage possible into the rhythm of getting that rock forwards, although actually I just kind of completely slumped there. Getting that rock forwards smoothly and quickly. Okay, so I've developed a little bit of a quirk where I'm very lazy nowadays about my forwards rock when I'm rowing at low stroke rates. I'm better at high stroke rates. Right, hang on. Where are we before I continue? Right, no one's joined me on Discord, so I'm gonna take the earbuds out. That's better. I can hear myself talk now. Yeah, so the hip rock. And if you struggle with it, the best place to think about it isn't the front of the machine, it's the back of the machine. And that transition from the finish of the stroke here to that rock forwards. And so it's that part that's the key to making sure that you're set up properly for the next stroke. So, boom, in the right position. All I have to do is bend my knees. There's no more movement of my upper back, or my back at all, sorry, or arms, when my knees bend, when I do it right. So this is where the head-on camera angle doesn't really pay off, because you can't see what I'm doing when I'm talking about that kind of forward tilt. So anyway, and it's, I mean, over the years, I've had a few bees in my bonnet when it comes to technique, and right now it is this one about getting into the right position at the recovery rather than thinking about the front. But the one constant has always been posture and making sure that you're up on your sit bones through the whole stroke and that you don't slump your lower back and things. And the big indicator for that is when, so you'll see people commenting on, especially rowing. What's the beep? Who beeped? I'm trying to work out who just beeped. Because is that a sign of something about to stop working? Who beeped? If that happens again, then that'll confuse me. Anyway, sorry. For indoor rowing technique, when somebody posts a video and said, oh, can I get advice on my technique? One of the most common things that you see is people who bend their knees before the handle comes over it. So they're, again, you won't be able to see this properly, their knees come up and then they throw the handle over the top of their knees. But it's never really explained why that's not the ideal thing to do. People just say, don't bend your knees before your hands are passed. And there probably are a few reasons, but the big indicator for me is that if the knees pop up before the handle is passed and before you get into that forwards rock, usually it's a sign of tugging on the foot straps in order to pull yourself forwards, because you don't want to do that. And again, there are a couple of reasons why you don't want to do that, but the primary one, as far as I'm concerned, is that when you tug on the foot straps and your knees pop up, what also happens is your back your posture all tucks underneath. As a result, your hips point backwards because you've just changed the angle of everything that's going on. And so when you're in that position, you're leaning backwards as you're coming forwards. And that's the big no-no. It's not about knees coming up suddenly being a problem in terms of the power that you're going to put in. They don't particularly, your knees coming up don't particularly make a difference. It's what that means that's the difference, that's the problem when it comes to your technique. That it means you're in a slumped, rolled posture instead of up on your sit bones and hinging, tilting over your hips to come into the front. Okay, so get to the finish. And I made a video last week talking about this, and I think I possibly said it in last week's live stream as well, that the best way to think about it is actually before you even start rowing. Okay, so you just sit at the back of the machine, legs straight, hold on to the handle lightly if you want, obviously. Well, yeah, you might as well. But then pretend you've just been shouted at for slouching at the dinner table. You're all like, at the back. So you're just gonna go, oh, sorry. And you sit up. And that's literally why I keep saying sit up on your sit bones, because that's what you have to do. Good posture, sitting up. And that then lets you pivot forwards and backwards over your sit bones by tilting your hips instead of curling your upper or lower or both back. And the reason you don't want to do that is that if you have a curled posture, the power doesn't transfer, doesn't go up through your back, through your shoulders, arms, into the handle. So if you've got good posture, arms straight, push, you hang off the handle as that power goes through. You're bracing against the power from your legs that's then going in to the flywheel. And that's where that real feel of hooga into the stroke comes from. Whereas if you're all curled, it's really weak. Okay, you don't get that connection. It's like a jolt. I'm not gonna do that anymore. Which also risks, because of that force and the jolt, risks injury into your lower back. So that's why you want the good posture. It's about power, injury prevention. But you also have to make sure, so you get into this good position, forwards tilt, but you have to make sure and hold your arms straight and that forwards tilt as you push your legs. Obviously you want to hold it as long as possible to really let that leg drive come through, but it's really important that, say, the first third or first half of your leg drive is done with you in that forwards tilt to get the power in. And then as your legs start to fade in that leg drive, that's when you swing your back from forwards to backwards to top up the power that's coming out from your leg drive, or kind of weakening as it gets to the back. And then as you get even less leg drive and your back starts to fade, that's when you pull with your arms to add in that last little squeeze of power. And then you just reverse it. So handle, rock, knees. So it's a really, it's a very simple stroke, which is legs, body, arms, arms, body, legs. But if you're not used to it, it takes time to try and drill it into you, to get it right. And that's what practice is for. Oh, I'm not going to do this sprint. We're on a sprint right now and I'm not doing them yet. I'm still on this rant. Because what I'm talking about, what I'm asking you to be like, I'm describing perfection, okay? Might not be showing you perfection, but I'm gonna use the C words. Coach, don't be rude. I'm coaching you to row with the best stroke I can explain. So a perfect stroke from a how I'm talking about it point of view. But it's up to you to actually do it. Okay, so it's up to you to put in the practice and the time and the concentration, especially if you know you're not getting it right. So you have to concentrate. It's not going to just suddenly all fall into place. If you pull early from the front, unless you stop, the kind of magic squirrels aren't going to suddenly come along one day and tidy up your stroke. So if you want to improve your technique, you have to put in the time, concentrate, do interval workouts when you're working on technique, because that way, if you row for 3 minutes, take a minute rest, every time you come back after that minute rest, you make sure to reset your technique, because if you're trying to change it over those 3 minutes, chances are you'll mess it up. It's fine, it's going to happen. Your brain may start to drift and you just don't concentrate on what you're doing. But at the end of that interval, after the rest, you can then get back into that concentration again. And I know this, and yes, I'll make it quick, but I know this from my current kayak stuff, where much like when you sit down on a rowing machine, anybody can sit down on this and make it go. It's one of the attractions of rowing, is that anybody can make the machine move. Whereas, try to think of, I suppose, it's the same with running or cycling, but this is a superior workout, I guess, but you can still make the machine move. But the point is that you can make it move, but then you can also make it move and do it really wrongly, really badly. What's the word I'm looking for? Poorly, where you're not pushing with the legs, you're pulling from the front, all the things you're not meant to do, but you're still kind of able to make the machine go. And it's the same that I found in the kayak, that I can kind of, I was about to say flap the paddle, but that's not right. I can make it go nice and fast by just going through the motions. But what I find is that I'm all about the arms and like shoulders, because I get a couple of 100 meters into it and my shoulders are on fire. And the other guys and girls are just la la la, life's a dream. And I'm like, this is the bigger workout than I thought it'd be for my arms. And that is because kayaking is more about the rotation. So you basically hold the paddle, in front of you in a kind of a box, and it's really more about rotating your, oh hang on, right, I'm going to do this sprint coming up, okay? It's only 100 meters, so after this stroke, I'm going to sprint. I say sprint, I'm not going that fast. That's it. Whoa. Ease off a bit to recover and get back into it again. Yeah, so you get your power from rotation, which isn't what I've been doing. And so I've already developed the bad habit of using my arms. And so it's now down to me to kind of relearn and try and grind in the right technique, because it's a lot more efficient and I'm more likely to get a six-pack. So from a vanity point of view, well, I've just leveled up. Level 17. Hello. Wonder what I get for hitting level 17. The other thing, so the last thing I'll say about kayaking, is that I also found out that, so you do, within your kayak, you also push your feet from side to side as you're moving. But I only found out yesterday that you push the opposite foot. So if my left blade is in the water, look at me knowing all the terminologies. Left blade in the water, you push with your right foot. I've been doing it the other way the whole time, thinking surely it's the other way, but no. So I have to relearn that as well. And so that's the closing point of this rant, is that I now need to just, much like these, like this that I'm doing right now, low intensity, low stroke rate rowing that is partly valuable for its fitness building, that zone 2 workout you get, but also these long slow rows are where you grind in your technique, and where this is where your muscle memory is developed, where this becomes your default stroke. So I know that these aren't the most exciting rows in the world, the low intensity ones, although these ones are, because of the added sprint, where you just climb on the machine, and the session for that day is 30 minutes, 20 strokes a minute, 2k plus 18 to 20. It's easy to go, oh, that's a bit dull, but it's also, out of all the ones you can do, the most valuable, because of the myriad benefits you get from it. Myriad. Let's talk about myriad. Years ago, in another life, I wrote a book. Not about rowing, about DJing. You know the For Dummies books? I wrote DJing for Dummies. Because what? 30 years ago. So I'm facing in. It's my birthday in a few days' time. And it's the last one of my 40s. So I'm starting to feel a little bit, But yeah, so 30 years ago, I was a DJ, and as I learned how to taught myself, basically. And as I was learning, oh, there's Andrew Fielden, good morning, sir. As I was learning, I wrote everything down, and it was back when the internet was kind of in its, not quite infancy, but it's definitely not the internet we have now. And I had a whole 15 megabytes of space on my free serve account that I had. And so I decided to upload the stuff that I kind of turned it into a basic web page so I could learn a little bit about web design, and then uploaded it to the space because I thought, why not? Eventually, people found it, obviously searching the internet for how to DJ. It's all like beat matching, the kind of club stuff, not like a wedding DJ style. So it's all, when it goes bumps, 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 you make sure that both records go bumps, 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 boots and cats and boots and cats at the same time. Anyway, that's how it started. It grew and grew and grew. And about 10 years later, I guess, 10, 12 years later, I bought Final Cut Pro for Dummies because I was learning how to use, I still am an avid editor. If you know edit software, that'll mean something. If you don't, you'll be like, oh, you're just an avid editor, I thought you were a professional. Avid's the name of the software. Anyway, so I got Final Cut Pro for Dummies, and when I was finished, I thought, I wonder if they've got DJing for Dummies, and they didn't. And so I got in touch. It took a while to kind of make it happen. I think they were like, who's this guy? But I was, at the time, my recess.co.uk website was like the place to go to learn how to DJ, how to beat match. And so that happened, and I wrote DJing for Dummies. Which brings me back to the word myriad, because I kept on writing, 750 meter sprint coming up. I ain't sprinting, but I'll take the pace up a bit. Okay, right. So I was 210, 21 strokes per minute. Now, just pushing a little harder with my legs. I'm not really thinking about overpowering the stroke here. I'm just pushing in order to get a higher stroke rate and just a little bit more pace. And don't worry, I will get back to my story. Don't worry. But this is a really important part of rowing on a rowing machine, and the water as well. But it's controlling your pace and controlling stroke rate, and also knowing your own energy capabilities
based on the row you have in front of you. So like this 750 meters, if I went all out, would probably take, hang on, 2.5 minutes. Is that right? Maybe. Let's say 2.5 minutes. But because I'm halfway through a 45-minute row, and there's still over 17 and a half to go, there's no point going all out and then not being able to complete the rest of the row. So you have to factor that in. As much as I will usually row at certain paces for specific stroke rates, for longer rows like this, you need to know how much to back off to make sure you have the energy to complete. So I'm not exhausted by any means, but it's definitely upped. There we go. The intensity. Oh, just ease off for a few strokes, just to recover, and then back into it again. I also still have 16 minutes worth of rowing easily left in me. So you need to learn how to pace your own rows. Like, if I was to row intervals, like, oh sorry duck, 3-minute intervals say, at 26 strokes per minute with 90-second rests, that pace, I'd be up at like 2K plus 7 or 8 maybe at 26. Oh, HP didn't join. Oh, yesterday you did your 33.7 kilometers, well done. Yeah, so for tempo paces, training paces basically, 26 strokes a minute, I'm going to be running usually about 2K plus 9. But if I'm going to row a half marathon, then although I'll do it round about 26 strokes a minute, if I'm going all out, I'll still be like 2K plus 12, I'll be slower, because I know I can't row 2K plus 9 the whole way, but I'm using a slightly higher stroke rate, because normally 2K plus 12, I would row as a training pace at 24 strokes per minute. But by just taking the rate up a little bit, but the pace doesn't come up with it, lets it be more about cardio, slightly less about power, to help me get through an 80-minute row. Does that make sense? Hope it does. Anyway, so myriad. I kept on writing, there are a myriad of options of turntables, something like that. And the editor kept on changing it to, there are myriad options. And I'm like, what's all this about? And it turns out myriad doesn't mean, isn't like there are a variety of. Well, it does mean that, but it's the all-encompassing word. So there are myriad options. Yeah, it takes care of there are a myriad of. You know what? That was a really long story for something that in the end didn't really explain very well. Anyway, that's my story. And so, ever since then, I've become a bit of a grammar idiot for that word alone. Anytime I see someone write, there are a myriad of, I'm like, no. Right, is this a sprint coming up? Ah, yeah. One more stroke, and I'm going to sprint this one. Here we go. I've got a higher drag this week. I can definitely feel it. There you go. Slower than last time. Yeah, I'm up at just a couple of strokes to recover. And back into it as Andrew catches me up. Yeah, I'm up at around about 160 drag factor rather than my normal 140. And I am feeling the weight of it today. I normally don't. Maybe it's actually proof that going out and eating fine food and drinking old-fashioned cocktails, it's not good for your body. It was nice though. I was drinking it with mezcal, tequila, instead of traditional whiskey. Give it a really nice smoky taste. But like I said, the temple was closed for one night so I could go out and celebrate my birthday, have a nice dinner. My birthday on Tuesday, not yesterday. Just in case you're going to buy me a present. Don't worry. You being here, watching, whether it's on the live stream or on the EXR app, just the fact that so many people are out on a Sunday morning and it's kind of quite consistent names. That's the best present I could have asked for, is the fact that this worked. It'd be terrible if I set this up and it was like just me, Mike and Andrew. Because come up with these ideas, hope they stick. Sometimes they don't. But yeah, so I've been thinking about what to do for people in different time zones. Because I know there is a huge American market that are totally missing out on these group rows because it's like 2 in the morning or similar for them right now. So I think in a few weeks' time I might try an afternoon or evening. Basically I'll do a 5 o'clock row as well as, don't worry, as well as the morning one. Just to see who we get on board. Then, unless of course you think don't bother with the morning one that week and you'd still join me at 5. If that's the case, let me know, because I'd much rather have greater numbers for one row than smaller numbers for 2 rows. I mean, don't worry about me, I've got the fitness to do 2 low intensity. I mean, it's not that tough. And usually 5 o'clock on a Sunday is when I do training for high rocks. So that's like running, rowing, ski erg, wall balls, burpees, all that stuff. So I don't mind like once a month just to start replacing the high rocks training with another row. Could always do the high rock stuff on a Saturday instead. Where are we? Just over 7 minutes left of today's row. And it seemed to have kind of kept a relatively tight pack where I am. Andrew's next to me. And then Jay Ireland are Onstvedder. Is that a W or a V? How do I pronounce that? Ostwedder? Ostvedder? And then Ben. We seem to be all rowing together. But if you are in another group on EXR, that's totally cool. There's Tech Toby and, oh, I can't read, it's too far away. Haransel, is it G Haransel? Haransil. Yeah. And listen, I said before we got started about the reason I want to remake, hopefully as long as the tech worked, I'll re-upload this row today with tidier graphics, or at least that background replaced with the screen capture from my iPad, because these live streams don't really show EXR off in the greatest of ways because the frame rate isn't up there. But trust me, when it's in front of you on a phone or an iPad, it really is an amazing app to look at. Especially, I've got it set to cinematic view, which is why it keeps changing all the camera angles. But it does, I mean, you don't have to have that. You can have a standard front view, back view, whatever you want really. But it's just lovely to look at as a distraction on its own. And then when you add in the fact that you know you're rowing with real people who are all in their own gyms or kitchens or garages, sheds, whatever, it's amazing. It's really, I'm sorry, I'm not doing this sprint. I just don't have it in me. I might, let's see, I'll take the pace up a bit, but not where I was before. Well, I think I was at 1:59 last time, so maybe I am. So if you are just watching this on the live stream and you don't have the EXR app, but your machine that you're rowing on will connect to EXR, it should just, as long as it's got Bluetooth out, it should connect. So a water rower with the S4 module or Smart Row, or Concept 2 obviously, RP3, anything that broadcasts Bluetooth really should connect. So if you have one of them, but you don't have EXR, just go to exrgame.com to download a trial. 14-day trial. And you'll see what I mean. And yes, it's, I can't remember what it is. It's a £7 a month subscription. Or if you use code RowAlong, you'll get 10% off that subscription. And if you do enjoy rowing, but kind of like this visual distraction, it really is worth getting it. It's the same with, so I've got an indoor bike trainer that if I just sat on it, oh, it would be, even if I had a podcast on, it would just be dull. But I use the Zwift software app to just give me the visual distraction when cycling, and that's enough. I don't need to be watching Netflix or a movie or something. Just the stimulation of the Zwift app on a bike is enough. I mean, I've got music on, but it's the same with EXR. Like quite a lot in the summer, I'll drag the rowing machine out into the garden and then just load EXR up, row around London in my back garden. That's of course when I'm not filming RowAlong workouts, which I have to work out how to do this year, because you'll have noticed, well, if you've been on my YouTube channel recently, you'll have noticed I've started to make videos using the Aviron rowing machine in a bit more fancy looking background. And so I can't really do that if I'm rowing outside when the sun comes out. But I don't want to stop rowing outside, so I have to work out what to do. Maybe I just get up early to make the Aviron ones, and then I can sunbathe. Right, less than 10 seconds to go. Sorry, that was a bit of an odd finish. One more stroke for me. Oh. So keep rowing. Don't stop just because I have. Keep rowing as a cool down. I'm just going to rock up and down. Oh, I mean, like I say, last night was good food, good drink, good company. But that was the perfect way to just, well, literally just to sweat it out, to be honest. So probably if I lick my arms, it's going to taste of tequila. Oh, too old for this. Although we were, as much as I'm saying that, it was like 4 o'clock. Our table was booked for, and we were back by, what, 8:30? So, whereas 30 years ago in the days of being a DJ, I'd be finishing like 4 o'clock in the morning. Right, I'm gonna go. Right, sorry. Have a fantastic Sunday, everybody, and have a great week. And I look forward to seeing if you're gonna come. What was that? Ooh. If you're gonna come back next week, I look forward to seeing you then. But like I said, have a fantastic week, and I'll make sure and have a great birthday on Tuesday. You can also privately sing happy birthday and think. So have a great week, and I will see you next week. Now I get to do this whole fun part where I have to hit end stream, so I say goodbye and then say end stream. So have a great week, bye-bye, take care, row well, be well, all that stuff, all right? And I'm gonna hit end stream. Okay, so end stream. Do I want to hit end stream?